Armstrong Custer's favorite tune, as you can follow along in the program and find out. This is a skipping song, children's song from Northern Ireland. Put your hands together, don't see the 61. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me, Ma, when I come home, the boys say leave the girls. Pull my hair and steal my coat, and that's alright when I come home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is Belle of Belfast. She is coming out, 1, 2, 3. Oh, what you tell me? Who is she? Albert Mooney says he loves her, and all the boys say they're fighting for her. Knock on the door and they ring her bell. Say, little kitty, here are you? Well, out she comes, she's quite a slow. Rings on the fingers and bells on the door. Little Jenny Money says she'll die. She won't catch the guy with her opening eye. Sing with us. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is Belle of Belfast. She is coming out, 1, 2, 3. Oh, my God, now who is she? Let the wind and the rain and the hail roll high, and the snow come tumbling from the sky. She's as sweet as apple pie, she gets her own right by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell her ma when she comes home. Let them all come as they will, but it's Albert Mooney, he loves still. All together, she is handsome, she is pretty, she is the Belle of Belfast. She is coming out, 1, 2, 3. Oh, one tell me out, who is she? I'll tell me ma. Thank you. Now this song's Madame Bonaparte, and it's being played by Freeman on that funny-looking harmonica. What do you call that thing, Freeman?
Double banana. Looks like 2 bananas. One that way, one that way.
So the banana split. This one's Madame Bonaparte. Freeman heard this song off in Nova Scotia. On Madame Bonaparte. This next song originally came from Ireland, but you know what? Whoops, sorry about that. I've got to get my sequencing in order for you tonight. I originally came from Scotland, moved over to Ireland, and came over here to the States, and it was quite a popular tune in all the vaudeville circuit, becoming a parody tune that lasted up until 1920, 1925, and it's fallen out of popularity now, of course. But this is the original version of it. It's called Big Darby the Cobbler. My name is Big Darby, I'm a cobbler, and I'm serving me time in old camp. Some call me an old agitator, but now I'm reserved to repent. Now my father was hung for sheep stealing, my mother was burned for a witch, and my sister's a dandy housekeeper, and I'm a mechanical switch. On me in-twing, on me in-twing, on me idol. When me in-twing, on me in-twing, me rubo, me randy. Oh, my love stone keeps bitten away. Well, it's 40 long years that I've traveled, yeah, all by the contents of me pack, with me hammers, me awls, and me pincers. Well, I carry them all on me back, all together, with me in-twing, on me in-twing, on me idol. With me in-twing, on me in-twing, with me rubo, me randy. Oh, my love stone keeps bitten away. Now me wife, she's lumpy, she's dumpy. Oh, me wife, she's the devil, her heart's black. And no matter what things they do for her, well, her tongue, it goes clickety-clack. It was early one fine summer's morning, just a little before it was day. Well, I walked her right down to the river, and I carelessly bade her good day. Bring me in-twing, on me in-twing, on me idol. Bring me in-twing, on me in-twing, with me rubo, me randy. Oh, my love stone keeps bitten away. Let's try that one last
me in twing, I with me Rubo, me Randy. Oh, my love stone keeps splitting away.
Dick Darby. So this next song, when we first heard it, it was in Ireland, and we even bought a book of Irish folk songs, and it told us a little history behind it. And they said that basically back in the 1600s, there'd be a bunch of candlestick makers, waxies, who would go down to the River Dargle, about 30 miles outside of Dublin, and have a convention once a year, which meant basically they did a lot of boozing. And that sounded really good to us. And then I looked it up on Wikipedia before we came up today, and they said, no, it wasn't candle makers, it was shoe shine people. And that just doesn't make sense to me at all. You know, I'm going to go with the Irish source and say this is really about candlestick makers going down to River Dargle. I don't think you can trust everything you read on Wikipedia. Said my old one to your old one, let's go to Waxy's Dargle. Said your old one to my old one, sure haven't got a farthing. We went down to Mondo Town to see Uncle McFargo, but he wouldn't give me half a crown to go to the Waxy's Dargle. Say, what are you having?
I'll have a pint.
I'll have a pint with you, sir.
If one of us don't order, soon we'll be thrown out of the boozer.
Says your old one to my old one, let's go to the Galway races. Says my old one to your old one, put a price on the old one's braces. I went down to Capitol Street for the first time any longer. They wouldn't give me a couple of bob, old ones with suspenders.
Say, what are you having?
I'll have a pint. Pint on you, sir.
If one of us don't order, soon we'll be thrown out of the boozer.
Says my old one to your old one, we have no beef or mutton, but if you go down to Montertown, we might get a drink for nothing. Here's a piece of advice to you, which I got from an old fishmonger. When food is scarce and you see the earth, you may have starved of hunger.
Well, what are you having?
I'll have a pint.
Have a pint on you, sir. If one of us don't order, soon we'll be thrown out of the boozer.
What are you having?
I'll have a pint.
Have a pint on you, sir. If one of us don't order, soon we'll be thrown out of the boozer.
Say, what are you having?
I'll have a pint.
I'll have a pint on you, sir. If one of us don't order, soon we'll be thrown out of the boozer.
Waxy Startle. Freeman Smith on bones, Lane on spoons, Murray on guitar, and Laurel on that wonderful little whistle.
hornpipe, Galway hornpipe.
Now, with the gold rush in California, there was a lot of immigration from all over the world to California. This is the story of an Irish immigrant who came over, and his name was Michael Constantine. He came over, left his true love back in Ireland, said, you know, I'm going to go to California, dig up a load of gold, make a fortune, bring you over to America, we'll live happily ever after. Okay, there was a problem with that. He didn't find a load of gold, and he's in a mining town on his dying bed. He's still pretty young, he's just caught the disease, whatever was out there. And so he penned a poem, and the poem is this song called Spansel Hill. Sent it back to Ireland as a goodbye letter to his one and only love. This is called Spansel Hill. As I lay dreaming of pleasant days gone by, my mind was set on roaming, and to Ireland I did fly. I stepped on board a vision, and I followed with my will. To anchor at the church there on Spansel Hill. It was on the 23rd of June, the day before the fair, when Ireland's sons and daughters were all assembled there. The young, the old, the brave and the bold, their duty to fulfill. The little church at Cluny, a mile from Spansel Hill. Well, I went to see me neighbors, to see what it is they say. The old ones were all dead and gone, the young ones turning gray. I met with Taylor Quigley, he's as bold as ever still. Sure he used to mend me breeches when I lived there on Spansel Hill. Flying visit to my one and my only love. She's pretty as a lily and she's gentle as a dove. Threw her arms around me saying, Johnny, I love you still. She was the farmer's daughter, the belle there of Spansel Hill. Well, I dreamt I hugged and kissed her as many a time before. She said, Johnny, you're surely joking. Yeah, you said all those words before. Then a cock crowed in the morning, and he crowed both loud and shrill. I awoke in North Carolina, many miles from Spansel Hill. See, I awoke in North Carolina, many miles from Spansel Hill. Thank you very much. Freeman and Laurel on that flute and harp. How sweet, how sweet. Now, around the time of Mozart, there was a blind harpist, someone who played the Celtic harp, who was a minstrel. He would go from manor house to manor house and compose songs for the Lord and the Lady of the manor, and they put him up for a while he was composing and playing for their parties and things like that, and when it was time to move on, he'd move on. He wrote this tune, a planksty, which is basically a salutation to someone, to whoever the Irwins were, but we do know it's Planxty Irwin. Now this was, again, the time of Mozart, and this is one of our favorite tunes. It's called Planxty Irwin by Turlough O'Carolan. Clancy Irwin, Clancy Irwin. Now that's two nice songs in a row, so now you're going to get a really rowdy one called Real Old Mountain Dew. And let's go over the chorus, because I'm just going to say skiddly-diddle-um, and you're going to say skiddly-diddle-um. Skiddly-diddle-diddle-um day, skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um.
skiddly-diddle-diddle-um day, skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um.
skiddly-diddle-diddle-um day, skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um.
skiddly-diddle-diddle-um day. Got that? Yeah.
Bits and pieces. Very good.
Just no, something with us, okay? Let the grasses grow and the water flow in a free and easy way. And give me enough of the railroad stuff that's made Nick Galway Bay. Come gouges off from Donegal, from Sligo and Leitrim too. We'll give 'em the slip and take a sip of the real old Mountain Dew. Skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um.
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
Well, at the foot of the hill there is a still, and smoke goes through the sky. With the smell you can plainly tell there's a protein pot close by. For it fills the air with a perfume rare and puts both me and you. And on we'll go, we drink a bowl of the real old Mountain Dew. Skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um.
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
Skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um.
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
Now learned men who use the pen, they rich your praises high. Of the sweet protein from Island Green that's made from wheat and rye. From Vilnius, as long we go, we'll drink up for the real old Mountain Dew. Skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um,
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
skiddly-diddle-um.
Skiddly-diddle-um, skiddly-diddle-um day.
Good job.
Now, the Brits didn't like the Irish drinking that real old Mountain Dew, so they made a law against brewing of whiskey in Scotland and in Ireland. And this is a tune that was written by a Scottish fiddler called Farewell to Whiskey, for that very reason. Farewell to whiskey. Dry your eyes, gentlemen. Whiskey in a Jar we'll get to for sure. That's going to be our closing number because we just can't do anything after we've done Whiskey in a Jar. And we're going to jump now to King of the Fairies. Now, my uncle, once removed or twice removed, was a priest in Ireland. And he told me the evolution of fairies. And he said that basically fairies came about during the Great War between Michael the Archangel and Satan. Okay? So there was a load of angels who sided up with Michael to fight evil Satan, and a load of angels who went with Satan. What about those angels that didn't side with either Michael or Satan or Lucifer? Where did they go? They became the fairies of Ireland. Now, you've noticed Laurel's had several different flutes out here. So this, she's got the standard English-Irish flute, and some better-made Irish flutes.
Wait, these are English.
The English one. And tell us what's wrong with the English one.
They ain't never right. So
She's-
when you get them, you have to redo the holes yourself and
Take the mouthpiece off, and she never tires of telling me this. And then finally, she's got a North Carolina flute made out of
Brasstown, North Carolina, PVC pipe,
concert pitch.
and they're wonderful. You can play them outdoors in a rainstorm. They're
She's
great.
flushed water through them. Last night we were discussing about could you drink whiskey through them? Could you just plug up all the holes, stick it in a glass of whiskey, and suck up and get some whiskey that way? So for this song, Mrs. McGrath, which is basically there during the Civil War, again around the time of the gold rush, a lot of people would come over here. Not only other Europeans, but we're talking Irish. This is Irish immigrant song. So Irish would come over here, and then as soon as they're off the ship, they're being signed up for either the Confederate Army or the Union Army. In fact, there's a whole secondary culture down in the Southwest and in Mexico. I forget what they're called, but there's Irish songs that are played in Mexico because of all the Irish soldiers who ended up going down there to fight the Mexicans right around the Civil War time. I guess that was really after the Civil War. So the conscription of people, as soon as they stepped off the boat, was an ongoing process. From the Civil War, probably all the way off into the Spanish-American War. This one's called Mrs. McGrath. Sing on this. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Well, Miss McGrath, the sergeant said, would you like a soldier, your son Ted? Fine coat and a big fine hat, now Miss McGrath, would you like that? Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Now Miss McGrath lived on the shore, and after 7 years or more, she saw a boat coming into the bay, the one that carried her son away. Now, Captain dear, where have you been? You've been sailing the Mediterranean. Well, have you news of my son Ted? Well, is he living or is he dead? Toora-loora-loora-lay, oh, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, oh, toora-loora-loora-lay. Comes Ted without any legs, and in his place 2 wooden pegs. She kissed him a dozen times or 2 and said, my God, Ted, is that you? Now were you drunk or were you blind when you left your 2 fine legs behind? Or was it walking upon the sea that wore your 2 fine legs away? Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Now were you drunk or were you blind when you left your 2 fine legs behind? Or was it walking upon the sea that wore your 2 fine legs away? Now I wasn't drunk and I wasn't blind when I left my 2 fine legs behind. A cannonball on the 5th of May, it took my 2 fine legs away. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. I wasn't drunk and I wasn't blind when I left my 2 fine legs behind. Cannonball on the 5th of May, it took my 2 fine legs away. Now Teddy boy, the widow cried, your 2 fine legs were your mother's pride. The stumps of a tree won't do it all, why didn't you run from the cannonball? Yeah, toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Teddy boy, the widow cried, your 2 fine legs were your mother's pride. If you won't do it all, why didn't you run from the cannonball? Yeah, toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Toora-loora-loora-lay, toora-loora-loora-lay. Wars I do proclaim will live on blood and their mother's pain. I'd rather me some as he used to be than anything you could give to me. Yeah, tooralooraloorale, yeah, tooralooraloorale. Tooralooraloorale, yeah, tooraloorale. Miss McGrath. Now we're going to do Carrick Fergus. And Carrick Fergus was lost for a long time in Irish music. It emigrated over here and became an Appalachian song based on the title, I think, is The Water is Wide. And so that carried on over here. And then the actor Peter O'Toole revived it by telling an Irish playwright about it, actually singing it for the Irish playwright back in the 60s with a folk revival. And so with Peter O'Toole singing it, it became popular once again. And so this is our version of Carrick Fergus. Fergus.
Waiting back up.
Can we jump to Dirty Old Town? The next tune we're going to do is Dirty Old Town, so we're jumping a couple in the program. Dirty Old Town. And, let's see. Owen McCall. First time ever I saw your face, who knows that song? Yeah? Okay, Owen McCall wrote that one also. But we love this one. That other one's good, but this one is great. He just uses words to really paint and describe a post-industrial revolution town and the people living in it. And this is the song called Dirty Old Town. By the factory wall, we took a trip down the old canal. I kissed that girl by the old church wall. It's a dirty old town. It's a dirty old town. Clouds they drift right across the moon. The cats they're prowling all along their beat. There comes a girl on the street at night. It's a dirty old town. It's a dirty old town. I hear a siren coming from the docks. I see a train, it was a steam train, spark the night on fire. I smell the spring on a smoky wind. It's a dirty old town. It's a dirty old town. Gonna make me a real sharp axe, shining steel, tempered in my fire. Gonna chop you down like an old dead tree. It's a dirty old town. It's a dirty old town. Thank you. More path rant. So we've played several different tunes for you tonight. We've played some jigs, some reels, some hornpipes, and now comes a rant, which is a type of a reel, but it's still basically a dance tune. This one's called Moorpath. Shenandoah and then whiskey? Sure. That be okay?
You might announce there's 2 more songs.
So we got 2 more songs. We're going to do Shenandoah and then Whiskey in a Jar. And now Shenandoah, okay, let's hear it. It's not an Irish tune, right? But it was played by sailors, and sailors were Irish, and Irish went from America to Ireland too. So this is Shenandoah. It's truly an American tune. Okay, we're going to close it out with Whiskey in a Jar. And Freeman's been practicing some strange moves on his harp. So if you see anything weird going on in the center, don't try it when you get back to your home. Okay, you could kill yourself. In fact, we ought to give Freeman a round of applause right now for what he's about to do.
I might not survive.
Might not survive. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. Laurel over there has the kazoo in her mouth because she loves to play the kazoo, as well as the bass and the whistle. So that's been Laurel over there on bass and whistles and banjo all night long. Murray Raban here has been doing backup guitar and vocals. Elaine's been on percussion with Bo on that round Irish drum and spoons. And I've been playing a mandolin, which is tuned like a violin, except there's 2 strings instead of 1 on a violin. And this tune is going to be called Whiskey in a Jar. If any of you guys have any questions or want to chat around with us after the show, we'd love to chat with you. But right now, let's wait for the master. 1, 2, 3, 4. As I was walking over the Kilkenny mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol, and then I drew my saber. Said, stand and deliver, I am the bold deceiver. With me, rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. He counted out his money, cause it made a pretty penny. I stuffed it in my pocket, for I took it to my Jenny. She smiled and she swore that she never would deceive me. The devil take that one. See, life just wasn't that easy. With me, rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. Rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. 'Twas early in the morning before I rose to travel. Up comes this band of men and likewise Captain Farrell. I dove for my pistol, but Jenny took my saber. A prisoner I was taken, cause I could not shoot no water. With me, rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. Rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. If anyone can save me, it's me brother in the army. I wonder, is he stationed with the Corker in Killarney? And if he comes to save me, we'll go roaming in Kilkenny and find some pretty young girl treat me better than that Jenny. With me, rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. Give it up. Rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. Well, Tom, take the light in the carriages of Dublin. The mothers take the light in the hurling and the bowling. But we all take the light in the juice of the barley and chase them pretty young girls in the morning, bright and early. With me, rum-de-dum-de-lie. What for the daddy-o? What for the daddy-o? There's whiskey in a jar. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure.